Okay, so the next part of solving equations is solving equations with variables on both sides. So there's a couple different ways you could actually solve these, and I don't really care which method that you take, but I'm going to stay consistent so we are all on the same page. But you'll see eventually that you could solve these many different ways and still get the same answer. That's why it's important for you to submit your work when we solve these equations. So if we look at the first problem, we have 7x plus 19 equals negative 2x plus 55. So step number 1, I am always going to add or subtract the number with the variable first. Okay, and I'm always going to move from left to right. Okay, so I'm going to go from left and move it over to the right. So if I look at the left, 7x is the number with the variable. It is a positive 7x, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract that from both sides. So this is where combining like terms comes into place, because I'm going to subtract my 7x from my negative 2x. Okay, I can't subtract 7x from 19, and I can't subtract 7x from 55 because neither of those numbers have an x. You need to keep x's with x's and numbers with numbers. So on my left-hand side, I'm left with 19 equals negative 2x minus 7 gives me negative 9x, and then bring down my plus 55. Okay? Now my second step is going to be add or subtract the number without the variable. Okay, so since I went from left to right the first time, I need to go from right to left the second time. So it's like a ping pong game. You're going to bounce back and forth each time you move something. So I'm going to look over here at the right-hand side. The number without the variable is 55. So it's being added, so I'm going to subtract it from both sides. Again, you're not subtracting 55 from negative 9x because there's not an x. You need to subtract it from the other number without the variable, and in this case, it is 19. So you can go ahead and do 19 minus 55, and that'll give you negative 36. And then just bring down your negative 9x. Okay, and then my last step here is to divide. I'm going to divide by the number with the variable. Okay, so divide by negative 9, divide by negative 9. So our answer is x equals 4. Okay? So we're going to follow those same steps 1 through 3 to solve B. So we got negative 3, or sorry, we don't have negative 3. We have 3x minus 10 equals 5x minus 7. Okay, so I'm first going to add or subtract the number with the variable on my left-hand side. So the number with the variable is 3x, so I'm going to subtract 3x from 5x. Again, need to keep my x's together. So on my left-hand side, I'm left with negative 10 equals 5x minus 3x is 2x. Bring down your minus 7. Okay, so I went to the left side. Now I need to go back to the right side. So I'm going to add or subtract the number without the variable. So I'm going to take that 7 and add it to each side. And I get negative 10 plus 7. So that'll give me negative 3. And then that's all equal to 2x. Last step is to divide by the number with the variable. Divide by 2, and x equals negative 1.5. Okay? And we could do C the same way. So we had 6 plus 2x equals negative 6 minus 4x. Okay, I'm going to stay consistent and start on my left-hand side, and I'm going to move the number move the number with the variable. So it says plus 2x, so I'm going to minus 2x from each side. And I'm going to be left with 6 equals negative 6, and then negative 4 minus 2 gives me negative 6. A lot of 6's. Okay, so we did that. So then we're going to add or subtract the number without the variable. So that is negative 6. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And I end up with 12 equals negative 6x. And then I can divide by the number with the variable, divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6. So x equals negative 2. Okay. So then you have 3 practice problems you can go ahead and try. I'm going to keep it like this so you could see the steps still. Okay, so you're going to add or subtract the number with the variable, add or subtract the number without the variable, then divide by the number with the variable. Go ahead and take a few minutes to do the practice problems, and then when you're done, you can come back and check to see if your answers match. All right, welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and solve these. So we have x minus 4 equals 2 plus 4x. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. We're left with negative 4 equals 2 plus 4 minus 3 is 1x, or just x. Then we're going to subtract 2 from each side. And we get negative 6 equals 1x. Divide by 1, x equals negative 6. Okay, so if you don't have this on your paper, make sure you're erasing your work and getting the correct work and steps on your paper. No sense in having incorrect answers. All right, next one we got negative 5 minus 6x equals negative 12 plus 14. I'm going to add 6 to each side. So I got negative 5 equals negative 12 plus 20x. Then I move the number without the variable, so I'm going to add 12 to each side. So negative 5 plus 12 equals 7. That's all equal to 20x. Definitely ending up with a decimal here. 7 divided by 20. We'll just keep it as a fraction. Okay, we're just going to keep this one as a fraction as x equals 7 over 20. And then last but not least, 10x minus 5 equals 3x plus 9. Go ahead, subtract 10. Left with negative 5 equals 3x minus 10x gives you negative 7x plus 9. Go ahead and subtract 9 from each side. You end up with negative 14 equals negative 7x. Divide by negative 7. You get x equals positive 2. Okay, so again, make sure your work matches what's on the screen. If you made any errors, be sure to rewrite your work on your paper.